Hey guys. So recently I was struggling in a season of frustration, uncertainty, and doubt, right? So I was trying to decide if where I was somewhere that God wanted me to stay and complete my assignment, or was I staying there out of loyalty and commitment? So that's what I was struggling with. Is this God? Or am I just afraid? Or because of my commitment and my loyalty, I'm staying here longer than I should? Because it's not always so black and white. Sometimes we don't know the right decision to make, right? Because not all the time it's a right or wrong decision. We just, some Christians just want to make sure that we are in the will of God. So, when making a decision about whether or not to move out, discernment and wisdom is going to be your best friend, okay? So, this is session 17. You're not loyal, you're just scared. I am Anastasia, your Christian counselor, and thank y'all again for tuning in. Realizing that the space that you're in no longer serves you is very heavy, right? You gave your word. I'm pretty sure you said things like, I'm always be here. Like, I'm here to the end. I'm gonna retire here. I'm pretty sure you've given promises that you know in your spirit and in your heart you can no longer keep. Because the older we get, doesn't mean we get wiser. Let me say that better. The closer we get to God, the better we hear from Him. And what may have served you in the past season may not serve you in this season. And so going to God and figuring out, Lord, what are you asking me to do? Should I leave or should I stay? Because there are times where God does want us to push through because it's a part of our assignment. And every day is not going to be Sunday. Some days are going to be hard, but that doesn't mean forfeit what God has assigned us to, right? We can't just walk out when things get tough because God do call us to be long suffering. But even in our suffering, it has to produce fruit. And that's how you know when where you are is no longer serving you, when it doesn't produce anything, right? Jesus said you can tell a tree by its fruit, right? And if you are in a space where you're no longer producing fruit, good fruit, then you're probably in a place that's no longer serving you. So the deeper questions I had to ask myself were, am I growing or am I getting smaller? Am I shrinking or am I stretching? Because even with stretching, if God is calling me to stay in a place and He's stretching me, He's growing me to become a better version of myself, over time, I should at least receive that clarity, okay? I should at least know that this is God pushing me to be a better version of myself. But if that doesn't come, then we have to ask ourselves, we have to go back to God and say, Lord, what is it that you're asking me to do in this season? Because I would rather people be upset with me than to be outside of your will. Am I staying here because I'm afraid of the unknown? Because I'm afraid of walking away from something that at the very least I know this, right? I don't know what's on the other side of walking away. And God will give you the clarity that you need. Which brings me to my next question. I had to ask God, is what I'm doing aligned with who you are calling me to be? and not who people expect me to be, but with who I'm becoming. If what I'm doing is keeping me stuck in the past, it's preventing me from evolving into who God wants me to be, then that is an issue. That's misalignment. And you want to be aligned with who God is calling you to be. You want to submit to his direction. You want to be in his will. God would never call you to abandon your purpose in order to stretch you, right? In order to challenge you. Okay? After I assess my growth and my alignment, I ask myself, Lord, am I here because you want me to see this assignment through? Or is this out of loyalty and fear? Because what we are calling loyalty is actually fear. Because for some of us, once we make a commitment, we're going to stay in it, even if it's not the best situation. But because we don't want to start all over, we don't know what else is out there, right? We don't trust ourselves to make the best decision. We second guess our decisions. Or we don't have the trust, the level of trust we need in God. So we stay somewhere and settle. When you don't know what God has for you on the other side. Yes, it may take some time. Yes, it's going to take patience. But isn't it better to be in the will of God than to be somewhere where you are settling for his less than best? Okay? So, and every time we operate in this false loyalty, we lose our confidence, we lose time, we have to learn these lessons over and over again. Right? So we lose our most valuable currency, which is time. You think if you stay in a place long that makes you faithful? No, it makes you delayed. You are delaying what God has for you. And you want to waste another 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years waiting on something to become what you want it to become, when you are not producing the fruit that God would like you to produce. You know, everybody know deep down inside of them when something no longer serves them. But you have to get past the fear. You have to get past the fear. Okay? At some point, we have to just step out on faith. You don't know what's on the other side of being obedient to God. You really don't know. You don't know. But if you knew, would it be faith? Okay? Abraham had to step out. He didn't even know where he was going. But God said, go, and he went. Okay? So God may be calling you to go. But you are using loyalty as your reason to stay when it's really fear and disobedience, because that's what it is. If you are a Christian, if you have a relationship with God, if you hear from God, if you have your Bible, it's no excuse to be disobedient to the will of God. And guess what? You'll never be fully satisfied, fully happy until you are in God's will. You won't be satisfied. You may look satisfied, right? It looks good on social media. You may present yourself as happy, but until you are in the will of God, ain't no person, ain't no job, ain't no place is going to satisfy you but to be in your purpose and in your calling, okay? So we have to step out on faith and do what God is calling us to do. If there is no fruit, then that may not be the place for you. If the fruit is not good, then that may not be the place for you. If you're not growing, then that may not be the place for you. If you're not aligned with God's will, then that may not be the place for you. you do want his very best for your life. I want his very best for my life. And if that means walking away, if that means waiting, if that means being uncertain, if that means being scared, if that means being alone, I would rather be in the will of God than to settle. Because at least if I'm in his will, I'm going to be satisfied. Okay? So I pray and I hope that someone received this message. I pray that it blesses you deep in your spirit. And I pray that it challenges you to revisit something or someone or something. Revisit whether or not you are in your purpose, whether or not you are in position doing what God is calling you to do. Okay? And I pray that you guys come back, and I see y'all later. Bye-bye.